Hello, everyone. I'm Michael Gibson, your host of the Norm Therapy Show, and I'm also the creator of Norm Therapy. Today, we're going to talk about relationships. Oh, yeah. So many of us out there think we have relationships, but let's examine that. Here's the one thing you need to understand. That sometimes when we're looking for relationships, we're looking for qualities in people that we do not possess ourselves. And at the same time, when we're looking for relationships, we're looking for people who don't have the qualities we have. Talk about a dichotomy. This is a sad thing. We always look for that which we don't have, which is the natural point of interest for a human being. This is what we do. We always try to seek out and find. But the problem when you do that with relationships and there's no commonality or similarities is that often you get exactly what you're looking for. Somebody that's opposite of you or not worthy of you. And if you feel within that paradigm, if you feel that you are unworthy and you're looking for a relationship in someone, looking for something different than what you are, then chances are your unworthiness is making you confused about what you're looking for. This could be another problem. You may find just the exact same lowliness, self-deprecation, narcissism, or other trait in that person that you're seeking out. I always tell people, and this is pretty much the way I do it, I just had lunch with a friend of mine. Hadn't really seen him in 10 years, maybe 8 to 10 years. I can't really remember because it's, sometimes it's a blur when we even met. But he's just a good friend, just a good guy. You sit down and you break bread and you talk and you always remember things as you're sitting there. But you realize at the end of the conversation why you didn't speak to him as frequent as you should have over the time. And normally that has to do with lack of commonality. Yeah, we can eat and break bread together and smile and just be good buds. Talk about the women and our problems and all those kinds of things. But then when all that's done, you look for those attachments. You look for those links with that person and you can't find it. That's what we all do. We settle. So this guy and I, we settled that for every 7, 8, 5, 3 years, we'll have lunch or a dinner and do a little bit of business. And then we won't see each other again. Now, another friend of mine came here and I haven't seen him in about 7 years. Now, that's not even right. I saw him a couple of years ago just before the pandemic, but he was here just for a brief period of time. But it had been up to 7 years prior to that I even saw him or heard from him. But it's like seeing him every day. As soon as you see the guy, you go, oh, good to see you, great, hey, blah, blah, and some more blahs. Why is that? I want us to examine that today. Because when we set down markers in our relationships in the beginning of meeting anyone, it doesn't matter what the kind of relationship, this is where humans screw up all the time. We're always wondering what kind of relationship we're going to have instead of just having a relationship and building on that. We want to have a romantic relationship. We want to have a business relationship. We want to have an educational relationship. We want to have a financial relationship. We want to have a sexual relationship. We want to have an enemy in a relationship of foes. But what we always seem to miss is that all relationships, it doesn't matter what they are, again, in this context as well, all relationships are exactly the same thing. And I know right now you're not hearing me, but if you step outside of yourself and you just look, there are varying degrees of discernment on each one of your relationship, be it with your banker, your school teacher, your children, your husband, your best friend, your boyfriend, your girlfriend. Each one of them should possess the exact same elements. It's just to which degree do you plan on applying or using or extracting or putting into those elements? That determines the quality of that relationship. They should all have the same potential to be a friendship, to be respectful, to be intellectual, giddy, a stupid, funny relationship, a financial relationship, a business relationship, an intellectual relationship. They should all have the same elements of friendship, respect, trust, caring, attention to detail, listening, being heard, tolerance to a certain point, intolerance thereafter, immersion, absolute immersion of that entity into your life for whatever reason they came about. If it's your mailman who delivers your mail and you want to get him a cup of coffee and a donut every morning or afternoon when he walks by, then that is your relationship. And you should give it all you have to give him the best donut, that greatest cup of new coffee that you got from Jamaica or either Kenya, the Blue Mountain, High Mountain, or that good African aroma coffee. Because you want that mailman to have it. And he so enjoys it. And he can't wait to sort your mail, sort the junk from the good stuff, and give you the good stuff in one hand and say, you may not want to read this junk, but I brought it to you anyway because I see that when I pass your house some days, it's still sitting outside while the good stuff is inside. Whatever that relationship, you should cultivate it to the best of your ability. But you cannot forget that all of your relationships should have the potential for the same. Now, your sexual orientation and what you decide you want to do with people, or whether you can, have sex with that person. If, you have a daughter or son, you certainly wouldn't do that. But even to the point of having sex with a person, or making money with them, or having dinner with them, it doesn't matter the relationship. They should all possess the exact same potential. Didn't say they should all be alike, but that potential needs to be there. And the only way you'll ever recognize potential in others, you already heard me say it in my brain, is if you have respect and understanding of the potential you have within you. Are you desirable to be a friend? Are you desirable to have a relationship of the kind that you care about? You have to ask yourself that question and then live up to it. Well, I'm afraid I go across the room and I meet this girl and she may reject me. Yeah, and she may reject you sitting in your chair, never getting up to talk to her as well. She may reject you as she walked past you going, wow, I really wanted that guy to talk to me, but he never did. Or could be she. At the end of the day, and this is important, take a chance on yourself. Forget about the courage you need. Remember what courage is. It's nothing but the control of fear. Remember that all you have to do is take one step in that direction, and your path for life has changed. Now, it's for good or bad. It's once you get over there and you start discerning that circumstance, that person, that opportunity or not. You begin to say to yourself, can this person fit in my life? They make me smile. I have this chemistry. They're intelligent. Are they lying to me? And we're going to talk about that again. In our norm therapy course, for certification, by the way, we have a dedicated module, a very comprehensive module of training where we spend a great deal of time, and we call it the human lie detector. I'm sure you've seen these videos of people around detecting lies. Well, we do something like that in our course too, and it's pretty comprehensive. And it's based on a lot of things that you've seen and heard. But then we have a few other ingredients that we put into the mix. I think you'll enjoy it if you ever became a known therapist. But at the end of the day, we're going to root out the lie in that relationship. And that's the first thing you should do. Not only the lie that they may be telling you, because everybody wants to impress you and make you feel as if you're important and make you understand that they're important and that they're saying all these wonderful and great things because they want to impress you. They want not to embarrass themselves. There are many reasons people lie. Normally it's to protect themselves. So just be careful. But as you're checking them in your discernment of that circumstance, pay attention to the lies. Are they lying to you only, or are they lying to themselves too? And are you lying to them and lying to yourself as well? This is how we accommodate. Remember that conditioning we talked about? This is how we accommodate people into our lives. Is that we lie so much to them in the beginning about how great we are, how wonderful, how much money, my this, my that, me, I, that we forget that we're painting a facade, a fake. It's a knockoff relationship. And if you buy into it, knowing that that person is lying, and you've picked up on those cues about that new relationship, and you know they're lying, then you're just as complicit that they are about destroying yourself. This is the truth that you oftentimes not want to see. Because I like this person, we have chemistry, I'm horny, I'm in love, I'm whatever. But at the end of the day, if you've lied to yourself once and accommodated one single lie in that exchange, then that lie is going to be that crack. It's going to be that crack in the dike that's going to make the dam burst one day. It's going to keep cracking until it bursts. And then you're going to be left with a mess. And you're going to wish you had never listened to that lie before. And it would be just okay to call that person out on the spot and say, you know, you telling me that you own a Testarossa or a Lamborghini or some Ferrari, a Molina, whatever. But I'm looking at your shoes and you have on like a $12 pair of shoes, but you have a $180,000 car out there. I don't see it. So you just be yourself. People will do that just to impress you. And during that time of trying to impress you and juxtapose and position and like ruffling your feathers and you're a peacock trying to impress the girl, that exchange can destroy you and her and your relationship forever if you're not careful. And I know you don't see the gravity of it now, but live it for a while and just look back over your other relationships and what you've been told and what has actually been true. This is the beginning of your end if you're not careful. So all relationships, if they have the exact same start points, and I don't mean every relationship should start out with a laugh or every relationship should start out with, you know, a serious tone or an issue of intellect. No, I mean the potential. Every relationship should have the potential and should have a desirous cause within yourself that you want to tell the truth. You want to be clear. You want to be accepted for who you exactly are, not who you wish you could be. As well, you demand that from the person across from you, from the person of interest, that potential relationship. Demand it. Make sure it's a part of the whole scheme of maneuver of operation. When you do this, all you're doing is cementing a real relationship forward. And the veracity and the conduct of that relationship in the future will always be stellar and above board. And you won't have to lie. You won't feel inferior. There are many more aspects to this that I love to talk with you about, but I told you I'm going to keep these about 15 minutes. But at normtherapy.com, as well as our Norm Therapist course, as well as through counseling and interviews that we do, we'll help you get this information as well. This will stop the abuse. My name is Michael Gibson. I'm the creator of Norm Therapy. And as we say at Norm Therapy, one truth at a time. Thank you, and watch your relationships carefully.